Go ahead and state your name and spell it for the record, please.
Sure, it's Richard Dial, D-I-A-L.
Hi, and how are you currently employed?
I'm Assistant Special Agent in Charge with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, assigned to the Region 14 Field Office. That's in Kingsland, Georgia, in Camden County, and our area covers Glenn County.
All right, go ahead and tell the jury about your training and background being a special agent for the Georgia Bureau of Investigation.
Certainly. I've been a special agent or an agent with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation for approximately 20 years. I began as a narcotics agent, focusing on illegal narcotics in the state. I then transitioned about 18 years ago to a special agent assigned to this field office in Kingsland. My training includes the basic training that all special agents go through, which includes basic law enforcement training to be certified in the state of Georgia. I've also had extensive training in interviews and interrogations, in crime scene processing. I've attended the National Forensic Academy, and I am now currently in the Command College as part of my training.
All right, so how many cases you think you've worked over the years?
I couldn't hazard a guess. In 20 years, quite a few.
Hundreds?
Yes, easily.
Oh. All right, so specifically, what does a special agent with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation do as part of their daily routine or daily job duties?
A special agent, our main task is to assist local law enforcement in the investigation of crimes. There are certain crimes in the state of Georgia which we have original jurisdiction on, like narcotics. So there are special agents who focus on those aspects. Those affect the state as a whole. But in general, especially in field offices where I work, the role of a special agent is when local law enforcement they need more assistance, or they feel that a case would be better worked by an outside agency. They contact us, and then an agent is assigned. This agent then begins an investigation to gather the facts in the case to make a determination as far as whether or not the case should proceed.
All right, so you have arrest powers.
We do, yes.
Okay. And when you're asked to come into a jurisdiction, have they already started the case, or does it just depend?
Generally, it depends. Obviously, we normally prefer that as soon as they recognize there may be a conflict that they need assistance to contact us immediately. That way, we're there at the beginning. That way, it saves time, in my experience with that, and that's always been my preference. However, unfortunately, a lot of times in investigations, there doesn't know there's going to be a conflict or that the manpower resources will be necessary until further on in the investigation. So it's not uncommon for us to get involved after an investigation has already been begun by a local agency.
Got it. So I'm going to go ahead and direct your attention specifically to the death investigation for the homicide of Ahmaud Arbery. Did you become involved in that particular investigation?
I did, yes, ma'am.
And what date was that?
Well, we were actually first requested to conduct an investigation into Mr. Arbery's death by the District Attorney's Office on May 5th of 2020. The request was made that evening. I was then assigned to that investigation the following morning as the lead case agent.
All right, so when you're talking about the District Attorney's Office, are you talking about Tom Durden out of the Atlantic Circuit? I
am. At that time, he had been assigned that case as the lead prosecutor, and he made a determination that he could utilize the GBI's resources, and he made the request.
All right, so May 6, 2020, you become the lead investigator.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So what's one of the first things you did?
One of the first things I did was, of course, I made sure that I had other agents available to assist me in the investigation. I then wanted to gather what had been conducted as far as investigative-wise by the Glenn County Police Department. So I proceeded to the Glenn County Police Department and obtained a copy of their investigative file, which documents what they had done.
All right, so you basically got the entire Glenn County Police file?
Yes, ma'am.
Did that include the video of the homicide?
It did, yes, ma'am.
Did it include any other videos pertinent to the investigation?
Yes, ma'am. It included body camera from the initial responding officers. It included interviews videotape of the interviews they had conducted by the Glenn County investigators. It also includes surveillance video from several houses involving that day.
And would that include the video from 219 Satilla Drive?
Yes, that's Mr. Olson's residence. Yes, ma'am, it did.
And the video from 224 Satilla Drive?
Yes, ma'am, it did.
And was that Diego Perez's
Diego Perez,
location?
yes, ma'am.
And Larry English's video from February 23rd at 220 Satilla?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And you reviewed all of that?
I did.
Now, the body cam videos by the officers who responded to the scene, you reviewed those?
I did, yes, ma'am.
And then the statements given at Glenn County Police Department, you reviewed those?
I did, yes, ma'am.
All right. And also during this point in time, without going into anything anyone said, okay, because we don't want to go into hearsay or anything, did you make contact or attempt to make contact with people who were friends, family, or associates of any of the defendants?
I did, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And on the flip side, did you make contact with people who were friends or family members of Ahmaud Arbery?
I did, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, moving forward to May 7th of 2020, what did you do and decide that day?
On May 7th of 2020, I reviewed, I guess I took a stock of what information and evidence I had at that point. I made a determination that I believe there was enough probable cause for the arrest of Travis and Greg McMichael. I prepared an affidavit and warrant and presented to a Superior Court judge for his determination.
We join that objection.
Join.
Specifically relevance to the arrest warrant, or?
All the steps associated with the arrest warrant, is what I was assuming.
We're here under indictment. It's not irrelevant what he did.
Let's just.
I'll narrow it down. Did you take out arrest warrants for Greg and Travis McMichael?
I did, yes, ma'am.
All right. Why didn't you take out arrest warrants for Mr. Bryan?
We were still in the process of gathering information involving Mr. Bryan's actions that day.
All right. Had you gotten anything back from the GBI regarding fingerprints at this point in time?
No, ma'am.
Had you gotten anything back about the fibers on Mr. Bryan's truck at this point in time?
No, ma'am.
All right. And at this point in time, had anyone collected the Night Owl video?
No, ma'am.
So now with regard to Mr. Bryan, who did you assign to make contact with him or his representative?
Assistant Special Agent in Charge Jason Sechrist was the person I appointed as the individual responsible for coordinating an interview with Mr. Bryan.
All right. And once Mr. Bryan's interviews took place on May 11th and 13th, did you review those?
I did, yes, ma'am.
So moving forward to May 19th, between the time of basically May 7th and May 19th, did you have other agents doing other tasks?
Yes, ma'am. Quite a few.
Generally describe some of those tasks you had assigned the other agents to work during this period.
We were conducting neighborhood canvasses, interviewing other witnesses that had been identified in the Glenn County Police Department file. We went back and re-interviewed several of those. There was also reviews of various records that we were obtaining from different sources.
And during this time, was Larry English interviewed?
He was, yes, ma'am.
Right. So I'm going to move forward then to May 19th of 2020. Did you have the occasion to execute a search warrant at the location of 230 Satilla Drive?
I did, yes, ma'am.
All right. And who was living at 230 Satilla, who had been living at 230 Satilla Drive?
Greg McMichael and Travis McMichael.
And what was the purpose in executing the search warrant?
To gather evidence in reference to the homicide of Ahmaud Arbery.
Right. I'm going to show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit 135, 136, 137, and 138. Any objection?
No objection.
No objection.
No objection.
Oh, I got ahead of myself there, didn't I? I'm going to show you States 135, 136, 137, and 138. Have you had the opportunity to look at these exhibits before you took the stand today?
Yes, ma'am, I did. I have.
And are they fair and accurate depictions of what's shown in those photographs?
Yes, ma'am, they are.
All right, now we'll go ahead and tender 136, 137, 138, and 135.
I understand there are no objections.
Still
They're admitted.
Still no objections.
Okay. All right, they're in. Thank you. Taking a look at State's Exhibit 135, what is the jury looking at here with 135?
This is a picture of 230 Satilla Drive, the residence of Greg and Travis McMichael. This is the front of the residence.
And State's Exhibit 136,
This is another photograph of the residence of Travis and Greg McMichael, focusing to the right and showing the garage that was present.
all right, so now, had Glenn County, during their investigation, collected Greg McMichael's .357 Smith & Wesson revolver?
They had not.
All right, and were you able to locate it at the residence on May 19th, 2020?
We were.
All right, so I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 137. What are we looking at here?
That's a photograph of a Smith & Wesson 686 revolver in the holster. It was located in Greg McMichael's, or in the Greg McMichael's, Travis McMichael's house in the master bedroom closet.
And 138, what are we looking at here?
Once the gun was removed from the holster, it was then photographed. This, again, is the photograph of a 686 Smith & Wesson 357 Magnum pistol that was located in the closet in the master bedroom.
Now, with regard to this, was this sent out to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation's crime lab?
It was, yes, ma'am.
And about this time, did you also have other gun items sent out as well?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
And what were those?
The Remington 870 shotgun that was utilized by Travis McMichael and was collected by evidence by the Glenn County Police Department. We had collected that from them and taken that to the crime lab, as well as the spent shell casings or shells, shotgun shells from the scene that was collected by the Glenn County Police Department. That was also taken to the crime lab.
So I just want to make sure. Glenn County Police Department collected the evidence at the scene on February 23rd, 2020.
That's correct, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then it stayed with them until you transported it to the crime lab in May.
One of my agents, yes, ma'am.
May 21st, 2020, take out an arrest warrant for Mr. Bryan.
That's correct, yes, ma'am.
May 21st, 2020, was a search warrant executed at his location, as house?
It was.
What was the address there?
The address of Mr. Bryan's residence that the search warrant was conducted at was, excuse me just a second, 307 Buford Road.
Burford or
Burford, I'm sorry, it's Burford.
Are you going to say Buford the entire
I
time?
probably will, and I apologize, it's Burford.
But prior to that, the GBI had already collected the Night Owl video, is that right?
We had collected the video, we had made a copy of the video that we were able to get. However, this search warrant, we actually seized the actual hard drive, which it was contained on, because the original copy we got had some data flaws in it. And so we collected the actual hard drive.
Right, so that we could have clean copies.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. And during this time, were you also then given the ROCIC enhanced videos by Caitlin Nguela?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you review those?
I did, yes, ma'am.
Now, having reviewed all of the defendant's statements, were you able to make a determination to a certain degree of accuracy, the path that each of the parties had kind of taken, meaning Mr. Bryan, the McMichaels in the white pickup truck, and Mr. Arbery during the incident February 23rd, 2020?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
Okay. And I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 299 and 300. Take a look at 299 and 300 see if you're able to recognize those two exhibits.
Yes, ma'am.
And are those the paths of travel that you determined were appropriate for the parties in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
At this time, the state would tender into evidence states 299 and 300.
No objection. No objection.
So when looking at states 299, what's the jury looking at here?
This is a map showing the path of Ahmaud Arbery on the afternoon of his death. You want me to explain it? in more
Yes,
detail?
please, go ahead
Sorry.
and explain it.
As you'll see, the path, this map shows the path beginning at the house under construction that belonged to Mr. English. It shows Mr. Arbery's path south along Satilla Drive past the McMichael residence, which is again denoted on the map. The path again goes down Satilla Drive to the intersection of Holmes, Burford Road, and Satilla Drive actually continues south, or it goes in that direction. That's actually, Satilla Drive actually goes that way. So if you actually continue straight, you're actually on Burford Road. So this shows its path along Burford Road, almost to the intersection of where Burford turns into Zellwood. So to this point, then the path of Mr. Arbery turns back, goes back past Mr. Bryan's house, which again is noted on the map, back to the intersection with Satilla Drive, Holmes Road, and Burford, and then shows the path going down down Holmes Road to a location, and then doubling back and coming back again to the intersection where the shooting took place.
All right, now, based on your review of the statements, do you have any degree of certainty as to how many times Mr. Arbery had to run up and down Burford?
No, ma'am.
Jane, is the form of the question, there's no degree of certainty. He's not an expert witness in path of travel. It's not a scientific measure. He's simply repeating what other people have said to agents.
I would face the question. Based on having reviewed all of the defendant's statements, can you actually tell this jury how many times Mr. Arbery had to run up and down Burford?
No, ma'am, I cannot.
Having reviewed the defendant's statements, are you able to tell this jury how many times he ran back and forth up Holmes?
No, ma'am, I cannot.
So when we look at State's Exhibit 303, which has already been tendered into evidence, whose path of travel are we looking at here?
William Bryan's path of travel.
And when we look at State's 302, what are we looking at here?
That is Travis and Greg McMichael's path of travel.
Now, with regard to Greg McMichael and Travis McMichael's path of travel, based on their statements, they came down here and went back to Mr. Bryan's house and then continued forward. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. They came down, and then there's back and forth right here where they came forward, then backed up, and then continued around. They followed until they stopped right before Zellwood. There's a pause, and then they continued going to Zellwood and around.
So when we look at States 300, is this a combination of basically everyone's path of travel?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
And when we have Mr. Bryan's path of travel going all the way up here, is this the point where he turns around in the driveway?
Yes, ma'am, when he makes a three-point turn. Yes, ma'am.
Now, did you also produce some additional maps or have us produce some additional maps to assist with your testimony to illustrate the area for the jury?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So first off, I'm gonna go ahead and show you what's been marked as States 301. So taking a look at States Exhibit 301, are you able to recognize that?
I am, yes, ma'am.
And is it fair and accurate?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and was that produced by you?
Yes, ma'am.
At this time, the state would tender into evidence States Exhibit 301.
No objection.
No objection.
No objection.
Submitted.
So when we're looking at States Exhibit 301, what's the jury looking at here?
This is a map. It shows primarily Highway 17 coming from the 95 intersection up there. Highway 17 comes down. You will see if you head south on the map, it shows Satilla Shores with the house under construction and then the scene of the actual shooting. And then if you actually go north from 17 over here to Boykin Ridge where that blue dot is at, that's Mr. Arbery's residence.
All right, so let's go ahead and zoom on in. All right, so what is this?
That is Interstate 95.
And what's this?
That is Highway 17 where you get off at exit 29. That would be Highway 17.
All right, scooching over a little bit. What do we have right there?
That's Mr. Arbery's residence. Or was his residence?
And then move over this way. What is it that we have here going this way?
That's Fancy, you talking about Fancy Bluff Dry Road right there that comes out?
And where does it lead into?
It is right across the street from the entrance into Satilla.
And so this area down here, this would be Satilla Shores.
Yes, ma'am.
And this whole neighborhood over here is called what?
Fancy Bluff,
And this neighborhood here, what's this one called?
Royal Oaks.
Now, did you go ahead and measure the distance from Mr. Arbery's residence at 140 Boykin Ridge Drive to the house under construction?
I did, yes, ma'am.
And how far was that?
1.8 miles.
Now, with regard to some other maps, I'm going to show you what has been marked as States Exhibit 309, 310, and 311. So Special Agent Dial, handing you 309 through 311. Take a look at those. Are those fair and accurate Google Maps of the locations we've been talking about?
Yes, ma'am, they are.
And do they feature the numbers of the locations?
Yes, ma'am, they do.
At this time, the state would tender into evidence States 309 through 311.
No objection.
No objection.
No objection.
Admitted.
So taking a look then at 309. Does this just give us the overview of Highway 17 and Fancy Bluff going into Satilla?
It does, yes, ma'am.
Now, 310, I'm going to zoom in so we can take a look at this. Now, does 310 give us some numbers so we can reference houses?
It does, yes, ma'am.
All right, so like, for instance, here, what number do we have?
220 Satilla Drive.
And then this house right here,
224 Satilla Drive.
right there. Let me see if I can get that in focus for you.
It's 230 Cecil Drive.
Okay. And then, when we're looking at 311, do we have the same thing for Burford?
Yes, ma'am.
And what number do we have here?
Excuse me.
You want me to go ahead and pull it up a
At
little bit?
307, yeah, it's a little blurry. There you go. 307,
307.
yes, ma'am, sorry.
So we can definitely see the numbers on this.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as 316. Take a look at 316 and see if this is fair and accurate.
Yes, ma'am. It
All
is.
right. At this time, the state would tender into evidence states 316.
No objection.
No objection.
Submitted.
And is this just a large overall of the entire Satilla Shores neighborhood?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
How many ways are there in and out of Satilla Shores?
There are two different roads access into Satilla Shores, one coming on Satilla Drive and the other on Zellwood, that's Satilla Drive. And then if you go down Zellwood, it comes back also on 17.
But there's no way out down this way on Satilla Drive.
No, ma'am.
No way out down this way on Burford.
No,
I'm
ma'am.
going to object to, Mr. Donikoski leading the witness, but if she could reframe the question to as to streets, there's no way out. There may be other paths out besides the streets.
Have the witness available. I mean, he answered the question, and I think he's already answered your question, so why don't we move along?
Very good. And lastly, did you create a sort of diagram to help with the locations of various people that were kind of named within this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Showing you 313. Is that fair and accurate as to some of the locations of some of the individuals in this particular case?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
At this time, the state would tender into evidence states 313.
No objection.
No objection.
No objection.
Submitted.
So when we're looking here, first off, what do we have here?
This is the house that was under construction that belonged to Mr. English. It's at 220 Satilla Drive.
All right, and who's across the street?
Across the street is Mr. Olson's residence at 219.
Who is 2 doors down from the construction site?
That would be Diego Perez's residence.
And across the street from them is who?
Subi Lawrence's house.
And down Jones Road, who's there?
Mr. Albenzi's residence.
As we go over, whose house is this?
That's the residence of Greg and Travis McMichael.
And who's next door?
That's Mr. Parr's residence.
And as we move over here, at this particular location, whose house is that?
That's the Alcott's residence.
And where am I pointing right here?
That's the approximate location of where the shooting took place.
And then as we go over here, whose location is this?
That's Mr. Bryan and Miss Elrod's residence.
All right, so I'm going to talk to you briefly about some of the things that were happening during the investigation, okay? I want to specifically talk to you about some of the items that were coming in via the tip line, all
Yes,
right? So you didn't ignore tips coming in from the public, did you?
No, ma'am, we did not.
All right. And how much speculation were you getting from the public as far as tips?
A lot.
Okay. Now, did you personally analyze the video to see if you could hear if Mr. Bryan was cocking a handgun during the chase and videoing of the homicide?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
All right. What was your opinion?
That there is a metallic sound on the video, but it was not consistent with someone racking the slide of a handgun, or cocking a handgun.
Okay. Now, did the Glenn County Police Department search Mr. Bryan's vehicle?
They did not.
Did they impound Mr. Bryan's vehicle?
They did not.
Did they even pat Mr. Bryan down?
No, ma'am, they did not.
And Mr. Bryan was allowed to go home before he ever went to Glenn County PD to give a statement.
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
And he took his truck home with him, didn't he?
Yes, ma'am, we did.
All right. Now, did you download Mr. Bryan's truck computer system, like kind of the airbag control module?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, we downloaded his the computer as part of his truck. Yes,
All
ma'am.
right. Did it help at all with anything?
No, ma'am, it did not.
All right, so we talked about Larry English being interviewed by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So then did you also interview Officer Rash?
Yes, ma'am, we did.
Did you review the police report from February 11th of 2020?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And did you also review Officer Rash's body cam video from that day?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Did you obtain the Subtilla Shores Facebook page records?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
All right. Did you look through them?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you able to find any posts at all by Larry or Amy English that included videos or still images of Mr. Arbery inside 220?
No, ma'am.
So
There was
no posts at all?
No, ma'am.
Now, did you note that on December 7th, 2020, Renee Herndon, who had guns stolen out of her unlocked car, did post some images?
Yes, ma'am, she did.
Okay. And that was determined to be a white person?
I viewing it, I can't make a determination on race on the picture. It's a picture, it looks like of a video screen. It was in bad quality.
Okay. Bad quality, you couldn't really tell?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And did you attempt to obtain the actual video file of the Herndon's recordings?
Yes, ma'am. I queried Glenn County Police Department during the initial report. They have been unable to recover the video.
Okay. And with regard to the January 1st, 2020 theft or entering auto of Travis McMichael's unlocked truck and the theft of his handgun out of that on January 1st, 2020, is that still an unsolved case?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay. Did you recently check to see if that handgun was recovered?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Was it recovered?
It has not been recovered.
All right. At this time, I believe we're going to go ahead and publish State's Exhibit drone videos.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, why don't we go ahead and take a 15-minute recess. We will continue with the evidence at 3 o'clock. Thank you.
So rise for the jury.
Agent Dial, you can go ahead and step down. Make sure that you're back in about 10 minutes or so just to be seated. I remind you under oath, do not, or you are under oath, please do not discuss your testimony with anybody.
I will, yes,
Thank
sir.
you. All right, we'll recess for 15 minutes.